In this video, I'm looking at GNOME Mobile on postmarketOS for the OnePlus 6T. This is the lock screen, and you can enter the password to get started. GNOME Mobile is postmarketOS with the GNOME Shell on mobile. Currently, it's in a state that is for more advanced users, but my overall impression is the interface is quite simple, but it's quite smooth. So let's look at the quick settings. Here we have the battery indicator and a number of quick features. Clicking on the battery indicator will get you to the battery settings. Minimized windows can be swiped away. We also have screenshot capabilities. However, I found that opening the folder where the screenshot should be did not lead to a usable file. So, similar to screen recording on Plasma Mobile, GNOME Mobile's screen capture did not seem to work. There's also a quick settings access that will access the settings options. You can also lock the phone without using the hardware buttons, using the lock button. Here again, we can unlock with the default password. The power menu also has a few options. In the quick settings, there is an option for wired connection, though I have no idea how that would work. Wi-Fi, however, is working perfectly fine and automatically connects. Long pressing doesn't do anything, but pressing the little arrow to the right will work. Volume buttons for hardware buttons work. Volume using hardware and the quick sliders work. Here we can see that the Wi-Fi is indeed functioning, and this is a pretty normal feature, so I wouldn't expect it otherwise. While testing the Wi-Fi, I'm also going to test the volume and sound capabilities. Right now, volume is coming out of the loudspeaker. Adjusting with the hardware buttons, by default here seems to be working with headphones. However, headphones are not connected, so this does not change the volume. In order to do that, we need to go into the sound settings and select the correct output device. Here I'm trying to test the speaker, which is the loudspeaker. And now you can see that the volume buttons are working with that selected output. Now playing the video, I can adjust the volume with the hardware buttons. The volume slider should also work. Mobile data is also functioning. I was surprised that it worked pretty much out of the box. I did not have to set up any APN settings or click anything special. I will note, however, that you do have to switch on mobile data in the mobile network settings. But other than that, it worked pretty much flawlessly. You can also adjust dark style from the quick settings. Here we see it changes to dark mode. However, at least on this device, night light option was unavailable. If you remember, this worked in Plasma Mobile, so it should have the hardware capabilities, but I suppose it's a work in progress. The call functioning is working, however, the loudspeaker would not work. Adjusting the volume adjusts the volume of the earpiece, but not for the loudspeaker. Even trying to change the settings in sound settings, I was unable to get the phone call to come out of the loudspeaker. It seems to be tied to the earpiece. So that feature still needs some work. Bluetooth is also working quite nicely. Here I'm attaching some Bluetooth earbuds, and they connect immediately. So now I want to make sure the correct output device is selected again, as it does not seem to be selected automatically. Though it is kind of buggy, and it didn't seem to work with the sound test. However, when I went back to the YouTube video to listen, I was able to get the sound to come out of the Bluetooth headphones. So I would conclude that Bluetooth is working for these audio output devices, if you select it while playing the audio. Now, to install other apps and software, simply go to Software. You can search for as with Plasma Mobile, you can search for the usual GNU/Linux applications and install directly from the Software Center. Once installed, you should be able to launch it directly from the notification, which may or may not work here, or the open button. Now it seems to be already open, so it must have worked. Some applications, as mentioned, aren't quite designed for this screen yet, but they are functioning. Long pressing on apps gives a few different options. Pressing app details will bring you back to software where you can uninstall with one press. The camera on this device and on GNOME Mobile also was not functioning as with Plasma Mobile. There's also a search function, which I didn't know before, but thanks to a user, see in the comments, I noticed that you can do a few other things other than search for apps on the device. You can do simple maths, and the result will be shown. Let's look at the console, or the terminal. As with any proper GNU/Linux distribution, you have access to the terminal, and the standard commands should work. As mentioned before, postmarketOS is built on Alpine Linux, so those commands are what you would use in the terminal. Here we can see that I can install applications using the commands. However, I didn't notice them showing up in the user interface. Ultimately, I was not able to get this working for installing apps that would be usable. Even in software, it's not registering that it is installed. So there needs to be some work there. In this case, you would have to remove the app via the terminal. There are some default apps that work just fine. Looking through the settings, we can see that it's customizable with search options, appearance, and there are also online accounts. Again, I didn't test these, but it looks promising. Language settings do work, at least for some languages. So switching the language and logging out, you will be able to switch to your preferred language. So those are my first looks at GNOME Mobile. If you haven't checked out Plasma Mobile, I have another video which you can see from the description below. I will also be doing an SXMO video, which I will link to later. Thanks again for watching, and if you enjoyed this, please subscribe. Feel free to leave any comments or questions below.